Tofu-Dreg Hospital in Beijing leads to multiple deaths in a fire incident. When will the tragedy end? China announces no holiday for New Year's Eve in 2024, sparks nationwide controversy. Hebei Police Academy drills to suppress demanding fairness and justice protesters. Former journalist in China talks about China's chaos, young people depressed, entrepreneurs escape. U.S. plans to assist Vietnam in auctioning rare earth mining rights, challenging China's dominance. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Tofu-Dreg Hospital in Beijing leads to multiple deaths in a fire incident. When will the tragedy end? It's been well over 6 months since the devastating fire incident struck Changfeng Hospital in Beijing back on April 18, 2023. This tragic event claimed the lives of 29 individuals, left 42 injured, and caused an economic loss of roughly 38.31 million yuan, equivalent to around $5.23 million. Notably, this incident prompted Chinese leader Xi Jinping to step in, calling for a swift investigation to uncover the fire's cause and stressing the pressing need to strictly hold those responsible accountable under the law. This action has ignited public suspicions surrounding the incident's seriousness and the mystery shrouding it. On October 25, the Chinese government officially released the investigation report on the major fire incident at Beijing Changfeng Hospital. The findings have left netizens shocked. The root cause of the incident was pinpointed at the renovation site of Beijing Changfeng Hospital, where the construction team conducted improper self-leveling floor work and cross-cutting during door frame installation. This led to the release of volatile, flammable, and explosive materials from the epoxy resin coating, resulting in the formation of an explosive gas mixture. Sparks from an angle grinder ignited this gas, triggering an explosion. Subsequently, the fire ignited nearby flammable materials, causing flames and high-temperature smoke to spread extensively. Compromised fire compartments and malfunctioning fire-fighting facilities worsened the situation. Inadequate initial response and poor coordination in evacuating high-level patients significantly contributed to the casualties. The State Council Accident Investigation Team determined that this incident represented a major industrial safety accident resulting from illegal and irregular practices during the hospital's renovation project. It was exacerbated by inadequate construction safety management, disorganized daily operations, long-standing fire hazards, unauthorized construction work, insufficient on-site safety measures, and an ineffective emergency response. The incident underscores a severe production safety liability stemming from the failure of local party committees, government authorities, and relevant departments to fulfill their responsibilities. Consequently, the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and the National Supervisory Commission launched a comprehensive review and investigation into Jin Wei, a member of the Beijing Municipal Committee of the CCP, a member of the Municipal Government Party Group, and deputy mayor. Jin Wei was found to have held significant leadership responsibilities for the incident and should be held accountable. As a disciplinary measure, he received an official warning. Additionally, 41 public officials faced various disciplinary actions, including warnings, administrative demerits, and educational measures. Moreover, the police have apprehended 19 individuals, among them the legal representative of Beijing Changfeng Hospital Corporation and the legal representative of Zhongyuan Xincheng, Beijing, Architectural Decoration Company, Limited. These individuals are suspected of committing serious liability offenses related to the major accident. The investigation results have ignited widespread public outrage. Some are asking, it's been over half a year, and we're just finding out about this now? Others expressed dissatisfaction with the disciplinary actions taken against Jin Wei, believing that whenever an accident occurs, the CCP tends to find a scapegoat to shield higher-ranking officials. Some have even cited the tragic incident involving the roof of the school gymnasium at No. 34 Middle School in Qiqihar, Heilongjiang, China, which collapsed on July 23 of this year, resulting in 11 fatalities and 4 more injuries. The immediate cause of the accident was commonly believed to be the improper placement of perlite on the roof. On that day, there was rainfall, which likely caused the perlite to absorb a substantial amount of water, leading to an overloaded roof that ultimately gave way. These heart-wrenching events unfortunately happen every day in mainland China. A substantial number of these incidents are related to poorly executed construction projects, known as Tofu-Dreg constructions, which reflect a disregard for human life. Furthermore, these events are closely connected to corruption issues, where substandard materials and unsafe construction practices are employed to cut costs and create opportunities for personal profit. When these incidents occur, attempts to conceal the truth have been made repeatedly. This raises the question of when this tragedy will finally conclude and whether it's only by abandoning this Chinese communist regime that the Chinese people can anticipate rescue. China announces no holiday for New Year's Eve in 2024, sparks nationwide controversy. Recently, the Chinese authorities made an unpopular decision, announcing that there would be no public holiday for New Year's Eve. Instead, they offered a compensatory day off. This decision quickly triggered a wave of negative reactions online. People even used the term donkey and horse holidays on Weibo, conveying their displeasure and frustration. In detail, the 2024 New Year holiday schedule entails a break from February 10th to the 17th, spanning a total of 8 days. Regular work days will be observed on February 4th, a Sunday, and February 18th, also a Sunday. It additionally encourages various units to consider providing their employees with a day off on New Year's Eve, February 9th, which means that people are expected to work on New Year's Eve. This announcement immediately triggered a collective outcry from netizens because New Year's Eve is a time of immense cultural and familial importance in Chinese culture. It is the time for families to come together for a reunion dinner and partake in various cherished New Year traditions. In response to the widespread backlash from netizens, the National Development and Reform Commission of the CCP defended their decision, stating that this is a more humane and flexible arrangement. Some internet users used the term donkey and horse holidays on Weibo to satirize how the CCP appears to treat the population as if they were beasts of burden, ignoring labor laws related to public holidays. Certain internet users humorously summarize these conditions as China's new 4 great inventions, which include adjustable days off, shared costs, divorce cooling-off periods, and the 996 work culture. Their comments range from expressing pity to sarcasm. Some said, "This year, there's no holiday on New Year's Eve, it's as if some people were born to be donkeys." Others remarked, "I laughed at the term donkey and horse holidays for 3 seconds and then cried for 10 minutes, underlining the absurdity and harshness of the situation." Some netizens also delved into the underlying motives behind the CCP's actions, asserting, in fact, the intent is quite clear. Citizens are required to request leave in advance, allowing companies to deduct wages and provide compensatory leave. This way, the economy and tax revenues remain unaffected, holidays are strung together, and tourism and consumption can also be influenced. The only aspect that appears to have been overlooked or completely ignored is the common people at the grassroots level. After taking compensatory leave, they continue to work, even on New Year's Eve, which is unprecedented in history. Hebei Police Academy drills to suppress demanding fairness and justice protesters. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, is facing challenges on both domestic and international fronts, and their strategy of maintaining stability and protecting authority is becoming increasingly audacious. After the recent exercises at a university in Yunnan, where they practiced the simulated arrest of wage protesters, another university in Hebei has conducted a drill to suppress protesters. In more detail, on October 24th, a video surfaced on mainland China's Douyin platform, revealing students from the Central Institute of Judicial Officers Law Enforcement College participating in this exercise. In the video, 2 students acted as protesters, holding a banner that read "Demanding Fairness and Justice." In front of them, another group of students posing as protesters brandished sticks and plastic bottles, charging toward a prepared police squad. The students simulating law enforcement officers held riot shields and various gear, forming up in a defensive formation. Following the attack by the protesters, they regrouped and prepared for violent suppression and arrests. This video has ignited discussions among internet users. Some have asserted that this is a brazen attempt to oppose fairness and justice. Others have cynically remarked that they aren't even bothering to put on a facade anymore. Some see this as a troubling sign of inculcating a confrontational mentality from a young age. Public records indicate that the Central Institute of Judicial Officers Law Enforcement College is situated in Beijing, Hebei. It's the sole ordinary higher police school directly under the CCP's Ministry of Justice, primarily training judicial police for institutions such as prisons, drug rehabilitation centers, and courts. Not too long ago, during military training at Chuxiong Normal University in Yunnan, the 2023 freshman class conducted an exercise in SWAT suppressing wage workers, which attracted significant public attention. Many internet users expressed their concerns, suggesting that the authorities are embracing Mao Zedong's Fengqiao experience, essentially inciting masses to fight against each other, hinting at a potential resurgence of the Cultural Revolution. The Fengqiao experience refers to a process of mobilizing the masses in order to strengthen the dictatorship over class enemies. It was named after the town of Fengqiao in Zhejiang province, where the campaign was first initiated. In mainland China, terms like fairness and justice and democracy and freedom have been tainted by the CCP and associated with foreign forces. Even when workers collectively demand unpaid wages, they are unjustly labeled as being instigated by foreign forces when they have no other recourse. Former journalist in China talks about China's chaos, young people depressed, entrepreneurs escape. Evan Osnos, a former correspondent for the New Yorker magazine who lived in China, has recently released an article titled China's Age of Malaise. This piece explores a range of issues, such as the rise of the lying flat culture among young people and the trend of entrepreneurs fleeing China. The article cites Jörg Wuck, the president of the European Chamber of Commerce in China, who, during a lecture at Peking University, asked students how many of them were optimistic about the future. Only 1/3 of the students raised their hands, indicating that 2/3 of them held a pessimistic view. Throughout history, the Chinese Communist Party has consistently regarded young people as a potentially destabilizing force. In the past, frustrated youth have sparked social upheaval, with the Tiananmen Square incident serving as a prominent example. In 2022, young people, weary of the government's extreme zero-COVID measures, initiated white paper protests in several cities, and some even called for Xi Jinping and the Communist Party to step down. For years, many recent college graduates chose to remain in major Chinese cities in pursuit of wealth and excitement. However, an official report from the CCP in August revealed that nearly half of recent graduates returned to their hometowns within 6 months because they couldn't afford the high cost of urban living. Among those who stayed behind, some have resorted to responding to shared bed advertisements, which involve sharing a bed with strangers, or taking care of the elderly to access the advantages of free nursing home accommodation. When Xi Jinping first assumed office, he encouraged young people to dare to dream. Yet, 10 years later, he has cautioned them to lower their expectations. In a recent open letter, he went so far as to demand that disenchanted youth guard against arrogance and rashness and be ready to endure hardship, essentially urging them to persevere in the face of difficulties. Xi's advice has been met with resistance from young people who find it hard to understand why they should comply. They laugh at themselves and say that they are just human minds for state exploitation. As an act of artistic expression during graduation season, recent graduates began posting various photos that depicted lying flat or listless poses, symbolizing their discontent with the current situation. Beyond the challenges faced by young people, others who have invested their life savings in purchasing commercial properties are now lamenting the state of incomplete and abandoned buildings on overgrown land because developers have run out of funds. Due to the CCP's zero-COVID policy that ordered the suspension of construction projects, local finances, which depend on land sales, are also depleted. There have been reports indicating that teachers and civil servants in certain regions are not receiving their salaries. Osnos points out that gauging the mood of a nation can be a daunting task, particularly in China, where independent public opinion surveys are not allowed. Nevertheless, there are certain indicators that provide insights. When inquiring about the feelings of people in China, you often hear terms like confused and depressed. China's business elites cautious of being urgently recalled. China's business elites, who possess more resources, are making a significant exit from the country. The primary reason behind this exodus is the substantial political risk posed by the CCP. These elites are grappling with the ever-changing and elusive nature of the CCP's red lines. Evan Osnos highlights the prevailing rule among China's business elite. When compelled to make public statements, they are advised to adhere to the CCP's rhetoric. Additionally, those residing abroad are urged to be cautious about an unexpected recall. A financier shared an alarming account with Osnos, revealing, "I know a few individuals who were urgently summoned back to China to sign confession agreements. This appears to be a government strategy to detain them." He went on to explain that if your phone is returned to you in the evening, it signifies that everything may eventually resolve itself. It suggests that they merely wish to engage in a conversation with you. Furthermore, it may allow you to send WeChat messages to your spouse or lover. However, the financier emphasized that if the investigators do not return your phone at all, it is likely that you are a direct target of the authorities rather than merely a source of information. In recent years, Chinese billionaires have been vanishing one after another, with figures like Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, frequently making headlines. Jack Ma's public absence for a period, following his criticism of the CCP's financial regulatory system in 2020, attracted significant attention. He eventually reappeared in Hangzhou in early 2023, amid rumors of pressure from CCP Premier Li Chang for his return. However, the trend of billionaires disappearing in China started years ago. In 2015, Guo Guangchang, the chairman of Fosun International, went missing in Shanghai, and the company later explained that he was cooperating with authorities in an investigation. In 2017, Xiao Jianhua, the founder of the Tomorrow Group, was secretly apprehended by Chinese authorities in Hong Kong and remained unaccounted for an extended period. In 2022, he was sentenced to 13 years in prison for charges related to fraud and corruption. In March 2020, billionaire real estate magnate Ren Jiqiang vanished after criticizing Xi Jinping. Later that year, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison on corruption charges. The unsettling trend of Chinese billionaires disappearing persists, with tech investment tycoon Bao Fan being the latest to disappear in February of this year. His company later disclosed that he was cooperating with an official investigation. Osnos wrote at the end of the article, "A decade into Xi's campaign for total control, he has awakened China's beliefs, but not in the way he imagined. I spoke with a former banker who moved his family from Shanghai to Singapore, after concluding that his expertise on powerful people and their finances put him at risk. Even though I love China, the nation is one thing and the government is another. I have no intention of overthrowing the government, nor do I have the ability. But there are truths that I believe Chinese citizens have the right to know. We've all been educated to say, better to keep our mouths shut. But this is wrong. When information doesn't flow, the whole country will go backward." The economist who fled China, named Su, said to Osnos that his father, a prominent physicist and dissident, had spent decades under house arrest but never lost faith in a comment from Albert Einstein, "The state is made for man, not man for the state. I regard it as the chief duty of the state to protect the individual and give him the opportunity to develop into a creative personality." Historically, Chinese people didn't know anything about constitutionalism or human rights. The proportion who do now is still small, but the number who are enlightened is not small. They know. That is going to be part of the future. U.S. plans to assist Vietnam in auctioning rare earth mining rights, challenging China's dominance. China is a dominant player in the rare earth industry, a position that the Chinese Communist Party has frequently leveraged. For example, this year, Beijing enforced export limitations on gallium and germanium, which are essential components in semiconductor production. Nevertheless, nations are actively seeking alternative sources of rare earth minerals beyond China. One such country that owns a mine representing one of the world's largest untapped reserves of rare earth minerals is Vietnam, and it has emerged as a perfect choice. Vietnam has a plan to reopen its largest rare earth mine next year, Dong Pao Mine. There have been reports indicating that the Vietnamese government intends to launch this project with the support of Western countries. Emily Blanchard, the chief economist at the U.S. Department of State, stated on October 25 that the United States is ready to provide assistance in the auction of mining rights for rare earth minerals in Vietnam. Blanchard's statement also underscores the United States' determination to diversify its supply chain and reduce its dependency on China in crucial sectors. Meanwhile, Tessa Kutcher, a high-ranking executive at Blackstone Minerals Ltd in Australia, informed Reuters last month that the Vietnamese government plans to put multiple sections of its largest Dong Pao mine up for bidding by the end of this year. Her company plans to bid for at least one of these concessions. This progress occurred shortly after the visit of U.S. President Joe Biden to Vietnam. During his visit, he signed an agreement to enhance Hanoi's capacity to attract investors interested in purchasing its rare earth reserves. This move has the potential to reduce the world's reliance on China for rare earth minerals. The Vietnamese government plans to auction multiple sections of its Dong Pao mine by the year's end. Experts perceive this move as a significant stride taken by this Southeast Asian nation toward realizing the objective of establishing a rare earth supply chain. This includes developing the capacity to refine ore into metals used in electric vehicles, smartphones, and magnets for wind turbines. This development brings hope to numerous countries concerned about the vulnerability of their supply chains due to the Chinese Communist Party's control over strategic minerals and ongoing disputes with the United States and its allies. As reported by the New Straits Times, the Dong Pao plant is expected to begin production in 2024. Its output is projected to be slightly less than that of the Mountain Pass facility in California, which produced the equivalent of 43,000 metric tons of rare earth oxide, REO, last year. Furthermore, Vietnam has plans to open more mines. In July of this year, Hanoi set a goal to produce 60,000 metric tons of REO annually by 2030. Last year, Beijing set a domestic quota of 210,000 metric tons. Data from the U.S. Geological Survey reveals that Vietnam's rare earth production surged from 400 metric tons in 2021 to 4,300 metric tons in 2022, elevating its rank from 10th to 6th globally. David Merriman, a research analyst at Project Blue, believes that these objectives will undermine the CCP's position, as the substantial potential for collaboration between the United States and Vietnam will challenge China's dominance in the rare earth sector. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.